Raquel coming in. He'll drag. It's deflected. Kochetkov got a piece, and Malkin couldn't knock it in. Walker started with a good defensive play. Now it's Carlson looking for the deflection out in front. He got it from Crosby, but Kochetkov loses the mask, keeps his head, and freezes the puck right. Roslovic to Aho, back to Roslovic, and scores! His 8th of the season, and his 5th goal in 5 games. And Kochetkov with speed across. Roslovic again, he scores! Jack Roslovic! 9-0 on the season, his 2nd of the night, his 9th of the year. It's 3-0 Carolina.
Welcome to the Canes Corner podcast, everyone. I am Adam Gold, and the Hurricanes won again, man. Broken record time, 10-2 on the season. Thank you very much for spending some time after this one. And Canes sweep the homestand. They win all 4. They won their last 4 on the road. They head back out on the road to Colorado, Vegas, and Utah. Lovely trip, by the way. Denver, Vegas, Salt Lake City. I have been to all 3 cities. Visit them. They're wonderful. This would be a nice road trip to take if you wanted to, if you had the means, by all means. All right, folks, let's take care of the housekeeping. Brought to you by the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. If it is for the exterior of your home, you can find it at the Aluminum Company of North Carolina on Hamlin Road in Durham. No place like it. Sammy Hanna and his crew do a great job. You should check them out for all of your exterior home improvement needs. And you see it right there on the screen. Thank you very much to Sammy Hanna for sponsoring this. We'll take comments, try to keep up with it if we can. Shouts to my man Mikhailov over in the sunny Adelaide Hills, he says. And thanks to all of you for jumping on board and hanging out with us darn near every night. All right, let's go through it. First of all, just another game, another 2 points in the coffers. 10 wins from 12. Home loss to Tampa to open the season. The 4-3 loss in St. Louis, where Carolina was easily the better team. And that's it. I know people, you're going to look at the scoreboard and you're going to go 5-1. We wiped the floor with them. Not really. Not really. As Jordan Martinook pointed out in the locker room after the game, you don't want your goaltender to have to be your best player. Tonight he was. And we're going to start with PK and PK because they go hand in hand tonight. I have 5 different things I want to get to, but we're going to start with PK and the PK. Because Kochetkov was the best player, and the penalty kill, especially early, was the most important factor in Carolina winning this hockey game. It could have gone the other way very quickly. Jesperi Kotkaniemi off for a double minor, not right away, but early, first period. And Kochetkov, with a little help from his friends, but mostly Kochetkov, killing off the 4-minute double minor to Kotkaniemi. That was the difference to me. Carolina got goals. They got, actually, I guess it was the double minor might have been after Carolina made it 2-1. I don't know. My brain doesn't always work. Let's see here. Yes, the 2 goals were already on the board. But still, you get a double minor with Crosby, Malkin, and company on the ice, and you could give away that 2-0 lead, regardless of how my brain works. That is just a truism. So, Kochetkov, great. And think about this. Tuesday night, he was the opposite of what he was tonight. I talked to Rod Brindamore before the game, but we talked to him before every game. And I said, I honestly thought you would go with Spencer Martin because it almost looked like Kochetkov played a tired game on Tuesday. But as long as there's no back-to-backs, and maybe Rod can go, Kochetkov plays a good game in Colorado, regardless what happens. You can go to Spencer Knight against Vegas. But if you were going to do it, you might go with Martin in Colorado and then go back to Kochetkov in Vegas. I don't know. But you certainly could just keep riding Kochetkov out there. 5 in a row. He has won his last 6, but he was no good against Philadelphia. Easily 2 of the goals, maybe 3, should not have gone in. And we talked about the 2 goals in the third period that the Flyers scored were moving no more than, I don't know, they looked like they were moving negative 1 mile an hour. It was slow, and both pucks went in the net. But tonight he was exceptional. And I think he was exceptional on subtly difficult saves, because there were a lot of deflections in front of him that could have been goals. And you would have gone, well, he had no chance at that. Well, he had no chance at that. Well, he had no chance at that. Except, here's what happens when you are locked in, and I think Pyotr was locked in tonight, is that you're just a little bit more aggressive. So when there is a deflection, you're closer to the deflector. And that's what I think happened tonight. I thought he was on top of his crease. He was challenging. And you saw the glove save on Malkin. I thought the best save was the deflection save on Crosby in the first period, and a shot that was going well wide of the net. It was probably a pass, but it was going well wide of the net, and Crosby deflected it, and it looked like it was going to go far post. And Kochetkov was there. Dynamite. He played great tonight. And he was, no good on Tuesday against the Flyers, so he had to be good tonight for himself, for the head coach. And I asked him before the game, how close is Freddie Anderson? And he went, not close. I went, okay. It's interesting. And, it is what it is. We've all known this about Frederik Andersen. When he misses time, it takes him a long time. I'm not talking about last year. The blood clot is a different story. But injuries, Freddie will not play again until he is 100%. So it's Kochetkov's net. And tonight is a night that Kochetkov can hang, just like the game against Washington, which was a different type of night. I think he had to make more legitimate, not routine, but saves that you normally see. Tonight, I thought he did his best work on deflections and dealing with traffic, which frankly is not a strong suit for him. So maybe tonight was equally as encouraging as his calm and quiet night against Washington. But he had a lot of work tonight, unlike against the Capitals, where he only had about, 19 saves out of 21 shots on him. Pittsburgh pumped 37 shots on net tonight. So I thought he was great, and the penalty kill went 4 out of 4 tonight. All right, Tyler asks a question that I didn't have it on the bingo card to talk about. Despite a 2-point night, any concerns with Aho's struggle to score at 5-on-5? Sebastian Aho has no goals at 5-on-5. 0. He only has 3 goals. The first one was an empty net goal, and he has 2 overtime game winners. Any concerns? Not one. I thought that line played well tonight. It didn't play all that well. It wasn't bad against Philadelphia on Tuesday, but I thought that line played well tonight. I thought the line played great in spite of not registering a point against the Capitals. But Skjei has now a 6-game point streak. Aho had 2 assists tonight. And while he doesn't have a goal at 5-on-5, I mean, for the most part, I think he's been good. Here's the thing. And I don't blame anybody for doing this. Sebastian Aho, and maybe it's because he makes $9.75 million a year and he's their best player, we judge him differently. Sebastian Aho is a 200-foot player. He wins faceoffs. He's smart defensively. He's one of your best penalty killers. He does it all. He goes through scoring funks, and he's kind of in one now. But he's not in a point funk And if my math is correct, and I didn't major in it, he's got 12 points in 12 games. Okay. I mean, as slow starts go, I'll take it. Because, again, he's going to have a hot streak with the puck, scoring goals. He'll go through a stretch maybe soon. Maybe it'll happen on this road trip. Colorado, Vegas, Utah. Actually, it's Colorado, Vegas, Utah. Maybe it'll happen on the road trip where he gets, 5 goals in 3 games. It'll happen. So, no, not concerned about him at all. But again, I think he's been very, very good. And same with Svechnikov. So, no, I guess the answer is no. So we checked the Pyotr Kochetkov box. His bounce back ability, when he makes a bogey, seems like he makes a birdie the next hole. Very Scotty Scheffler-like, and I always look at Pyotr Kochetkov. You're like the Scotty Scheffler of the Hurricanes. All right, let's get to the new guys real quick. Not enough has been made of Carolina's additions. So much was made of the subtractions, right? So much was talked about Brady Skjei, Brett Pesce, Teuvo Teravainen, Stefan Noesen, Jake Guentzel. So much was made of them. Going into tonight, Teravainen had 8 points in 13 games, was a -8. Eesh. Chicago's no good. I'm sure that's not Turbo's fault. Steph Noesen had gotten off to a great start, leveled off a little bit, but still 6 goals, 7 assists, 13 points in 15 games. Trying to remember who that is. Brett Pesce. I don't know why I wrote Finley for some reason instead of Pesce. Brett Pesce has played 6 games, doesn't have a point, not surprised. -3, though, with the Devils. That's a little bit. Of course, he got off to a slow start. Skjei in 13 games, 6 points, 2 goals, -4. Nashville is a mess. They lost tonight. They are 4-9-1 on the season. Guentzel's off to a decent start. Tampa's good. Tampa lost in a shootout at home to Philadelphia tonight. But Guentzel going into play tonight had 13 points, 5 goals in 13 games, was a plus, I think, 8, which is typical for Jake Guentzel. We saw that here. He's a great player. He's no Martin Necas, but he's a great player. But the new guys have been great. And everybody was complaining about who wasn't here and look, I'll be the first to admit, when the Hurricanes signed Jack Roslovic, I thought, I've seen him play a lot of hockey. I remember him with Winnipeg. I remember when he was traded to Columbus. And I remember when he was traded to the Rangers, and he played a lot with a lot of good players and didn't really produce much. Played with Patrick Laine, I think in both spots, both in Winnipeg and Columbus. When he got to New York, he played with Kreider and Zibanejad. And nothing really happened. He had 9 goals in 59 games last year. He's got 9 goals in 12 games this year. And I'm not saying he's playing with, better players, playing with elite players, playing with elite guys who like to pass the puck too, Aho and Svechnikov. But I'm sure he got plenty of opportunities to score goals in the past and didn't. Something about playing here has agreed with Roslovic. And, of course, this could just simply be one of those things. He has 120 goal season. He scored 22 a few years ago. He's got, I think, an 11 and 2 12-goal seasons. And last year he had 9. And he's already got 9. The Hurricanes have 70 games left to play. Look, do I think he's going to end up with 60 goals this year? Probably not. Probably not. But off to a great start. William Carrier is playing very, very well. We're going to talk about that line before we're done here. Eric Robinson, just such a good, perfect hockey player for this team. Robinson's got 3 goals, 7 points in 12 games. And does that say plus 10? That's insane, isn't it? All right. Now, let me just talk a little bit. We know Gostisbehere and Walker have been great, but we've talked about them a lot. So, I know a lot of Hurricanes fans are not necessarily fond of Tony DeAngelo. Whatever. You are free to like and dislike who you want. I've gotten to know Tony over during his time with Carolina. We kept in touch for his first year with Philly. And I was excited when he came back. Hey, it didn't work out for Tony here the second time. He didn't play as well early, and I thought he did play well late when he came in for an injured Brett Pesce. But by that point, the cake had been baked about Tony's usefulness here, and he was admittedly unhappy not playing. And he is now playing in the KHL and absolutely crushing it. Anyway, he trained Eric Robinson in the offseason. He told Eric Robinson and the Hurricanes that should be a marriage. I've said this before about Tony. I'm not trying to make this part of the podcast about Tony DeAngelo. He is the smartest hockey player I have ever spoken with. Tony can instantly analyze a play, everything. You cannot like Tony for some of the things he has said, some of the things he has done, and that's fair. I'm telling you, my experience with Tony has been nothing but special. I love the guy. And we do not agree on anything outside of hockey and maybe baseball. But I was chatting with him tonight before the game, and we were talking about Robinson. He loves Robinson. He thinks Robinson was going to be a huge fit, and he actually told Tripp, and he told Tripp Tracy this, and he confirmed it with me tonight. He thought Robinson would come here, play well, and get bumped up, and specifically said Kotkaniemi. Robinson has been great, and that line has exploded since E-Rob has joined it. No offense to Roslovic, but Robinson, straight line speed, little bit of physicality, showing some ability to finish too, which is great. Boy, that line looks like you don't want to mess with it. So to me, those two guys, and Carrier has been good, and we're going to circle back to Carrier in a minute. All right. You've heard of Hines 57. How about Kane's 57? The sweet sauce that is Jalen Chatfield and Dmitry Orlov. Last year in the playoffs, these two guys were Carolina's best pairing. They just were. Rod didn't hide him. Remember, Brett Pesce was out, so Brady Skjei was with Tony DeAngelo, and Rod, if anything, kept that defensive pair away from other teams' top lines. Orlov and Chatfield, they had choice assignments, and they were Carolina's best defensive pair in the playoffs. Yes, I know it was only 2 rounds. Orlov showed up to camp out of shape. He wasn't ready. He wasn't ready for the start of the season. He did everything he had to do. He passed the physical test, but he wasn't ready. That's why he played 4 preseason games. And I think it took him a few games of the regular season to get up to speed. And to an extent, I think Chatfield got off to a little bit of a slow start. But that pair has been awesome. They were both tremendous tonight. I gave Chatfield the second star of the game. Combined, they have 3 goals, 9 assists, and are a plus 23 on the season. Yep. So, weaving it back to what Carolina's missing, Skjei and Pesce, in comes Gostisbehere and Walker. They are really the replacement for Orlov and Chatfield, who are really the replacement for Skjei and Pesce. And I'm not foolish enough to say Carolina got better. All right. Skjei and Pesce were one of the best shutdown defensive pairings in the entire NHL. There is just no other way to look at what they did together for basically 3 years and say anything other than, yep, you probably weren't scoring a goal with those two guys on the ice. And Gostisbehere and Walker are not that type of a defensive pair, although they were good tonight. But Carolina certainly didn't get worse on the blue line because Orlov and Chatfield are playing at a high level. They're getting the best defensively out of Brent Burns, who was good again tonight on defense. And after I thought a slow game against the Flyers, I did not like Jaccob Slavin's game against the Flyers. And I can't remember how many times I have said that since Slavin showed up. I didn't like Jaccob Slavin's game. I didn't like it against the Flyers. He was special tonight. He was Jaccob Slavin, 100% number 74 tonight. But Kane's 57, that has been very, very good. Very quickly, I wonder if we've seen the end of the Martin Necas hot streak. Yeah, I know. He got an assist on a brilliant pass to Eric Robinson for the 5th goal that made it 5-0, and he has now scored, has a point in 8 straight. But remember what I have been saying, that if Martin Necas passes you the puck, just shoot it because it's a goal. These are the rules. And somehow, Necas to Kotkaniemi in the slot for what was certainly going to be a goal. Alex Nedeljkovic, glove save and a beauty. Kotkaniemi does not score. And I went, wait, how is that possible? Doesn't Ned know the rules? Great save. Super save from the former Hurricane, denying Kotkaniemi's second goal. The second goal of the season? I just want to make sure I get lost. Yes, denying him his second goal of the season. Necas still, it was a quiet night offensively. I thought they were basically unthreatening in the first 2 periods. But they were much better early in the third. But I think the best part about that line was that Necas made some good defensive plays tonight. So helping out when the offensive side of the puck isn't necessarily there. Those are the kind of things that please the head coach. They just do. You know, if you're a player like Necas and your offense isn't there for a given game, then help the team in other ways. And I actually think that line played a pretty good game defensively tonight, and should be commended for it. Again, they got a goal. Robinson got a goal early, 2 minutes into the third period to make it 5-0. And Necas could have had another assist. He could have had kind of a backdoor 2-assist night, but instead he will settle for 1 assist. Necas has 14 of those, 7 goals, 14 assists, 21 points, 12 games played. He is a +10. You know, the Hurricanes have a lot of guys who are plus a lot. As a matter of fact, there isn't anybody on Carolina's team, 0 players, who are minus for the season. The worsts are Svechnikov and Aho, who are both +1. Oh, that's so funny. Again, I think for the most part they've been good. All right, one more thing before we jump out, and maybe we can go through some other things here. It's kind of hard. I mean, it's almost funny to say this. When the Jack Drury line is on the ice, it reminds me a lot of the Jordan Staal line, just smaller. So I've taken to call it the mini Staal line because Drury plays, I mean, not in the same manner, right? Because Jordan Staal is a horse. I mean, he's giant. He is a giant human being. And Martinook is big and he's physical and he's fast. And you've got Jarvis on that line who just plays like a pest. He's the bee at the picnic, man. You're trying to get him off your face, and you can't. But Drury, his game is similar to Staal's. He's just thinking about defense, making life miserable for you. Does a good job of that. Jackson Blake is a pest. He's an absolute pest. He is. He's also a smaller one, but a bee at the picnic. And then William Carrier, physical, hounding pucks. That line was very, very good tonight. And Drury had 2 great block shots. He had the one on, who was it? Pustanen on the power play, that the back half of that double minor power play. He blocked it with his back. Then he had another block with, just his lower body, a normal block shot. He played a very good game. And I think you see, even in games where Blake, doesn't have a point, you can see how he impacts the game. He needs some strength, and that's going to come over time because he can get knocked off the puck a little bit, and teams are going to be even more physical with him. See what happens in Colorado and Vegas and Utah. They're going to go after him. I'm not talking about it in a dirty way, but they're going to be physical with him because, he's 21. He's 15 pounds, maybe more, maybe 20 pounds of muscle away from being like unplayable because he has got such a high level of skill. He stick handled through traffic a few times tonight. He's going to do that a lot. And as he gets stronger, he won't get bodied off the puck as much. But he is a smart player. And he is 5th in the league in scoring among rookies. He is off to a very, very good start. But that line plays a heavy game without necessarily being very heavy. And those are all of the new players have really, really contributed. So to me, just pretty much a solid game. It wasn't great. Martinook said it after the game, and I know there are people who think 5-1, oh, Carolina was awesome. No, they weren't. It's probably a more evenly played game than you think. Carolina certainly did not have more shots on goal. They were almost doubled up by Pittsburgh. The puck possession game was won by the Penguins. But what Carolina did do was they finished their chances. They took them. And the Penguins, because of Pyotr Kochetkov, did not. But I thought on Tuesday, Carolina played hard, for the most part dominated the game, but just were sloppy with the puck. And they paid the price in terms of Philadelphia goals. Ultimately, Carolina won the game, so it didn't matter. They end up with 2 points. Tonight was a game where, Pittsburgh probably feels like they should have gotten more out of this. They had great scoring chances, but Kochetkov was better than the Flyers' scoring chances. You really get, it's really a surprise. So, good. And my concern going into the game was, would Pyotr Kochetkov be able to respond from a bad performance? We've said this before about him. In general, he has responded. The Vancouver game was not good. But the first game out of the break against Boston, Carolina dominated out of the road trip. Carolina dominated, but Kochetkov played really well. And he played great against the Capitals. Thing is, Kochetkov didn't play well in Vancouver in the last game of the road trip. Played well against Boston. Played great against the Capitals. Played poorly, albeit in a win, over the Flyers. Played really well tonight. I loved his game. Loved his he wasn't all over the place. He was at one point. On the goal, he went swimming outside the crease. But big spot for him. It's a lot of games in a row. This was game number 5. Look, I don't know if he's going to play in Colorado or not. The team will practice tomorrow and then fly out tomorrow evening. They'll be in Colorado for Saturday's game. Then they play Monday in Vegas. That's a late night one. And then Wednesday in Salt Lake City against the Hockey Club of Utah. That'll do it for us. This has been the Canes Corner podcast, available wherever you get your podcast. Share, subscribe, like, rate, review, tell your friends. And I thank you very much for doing that. We're brought to you by the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. If it is for the exterior of your home, you can find it at the Aluminum Company of North Carolina on Hamlin Road in Durham. No place like it. Sammy Hannon and his crew do a great job. Let me just read the standings real quick. As of this hour, which is right about 11 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the Carolina Hurricanes, 20 points out of a possible 24. 10 wins from 12, as they say. 20 points top in the Metropolitan Division. Devils also have 20, but Carolina's got 4 games in hand. The Hurricanes' point percentage of 20 out of 24 is what? 10 out of 12, 5 out of 6, 83%. Hey, it works. Go 83%. You're going to set some records. So Carolina's first in the division and first in our hearts, as you are in mine. Thank you. We'll talk to you after the game Saturday night in Colorado. Bit of housekeeping. Pretty sure I'm going to be able to watch it. I'm not going to be doing the game on the radio pre and post. Pretty sure I'm going to be able to watch it, and we will probably jump on for a quickie after that game. It will be immediately after the game, though. I will not be doing the post-game show, so it'll be immediately after the game. And I'll just give you my thoughts. We might not do a ton of time, but I'll have more time to answer questions if we want to do it that way. If we want to do a Q&A session after the game against the Avalanche on Saturday night. But until then, I am Adam, and thank you very much for spending some time on the Canes Corner podcast, and we'll see you Saturday after the Canes and the Avs.